the history of the third sector and the civil society actions in Brazil. The challenge is a big one, and you as a fundraiser has an important role in such change. The actions to bring benefits to this population dates back from long ago. Follow now the history of the third sector and the society action plans in Brazil. 1500 to 1808, the colonial Brazil. The Religious Act of Mercy. During the first centuries after the discovery of Brazil, there were two very strong sources of donations, the colonels and landlords and the Catholic Church. The protectionism and favors were seen as an act of goodwill and loyalty to those who served the church and the colonels. Such actions only stated the social conditions and did not aim to seek any changes. The actions came from the people and from the church in the name of benevolence. 1822 to 1930, from independence to the Republic. The industrialization and the state turned their backs to social causes. With the independence of Brazil, the state and the church got apart. The political power that up to that date was settled in the northeast of the country started to shift to the southeast region. At the end of slavery, the process of industrialization had gained power. The big cities started to be developed and the population to grow. In the last decades of the 19th century, there were some civil organizations coming from the slavery work and from the industry. As an example, the professional associations of the class, the unions, and the abolitionist associations for a short period of time. 1930 to 1945, New Republic. Populism, state intervention, assistance guidance. The end of the old republic from the 20s on faced urban movements as the January strike of the 1917, the anarchy union movement, the foundation of the Communist Party, the lieutenant movement, and the old government system crisis. The people started to perform a new role in the political scenario and to demand a higher attention from the state. The state then started to intervene in society and economy. Such attitude, known as beneficiaries, tried to avoid crisis and to get people support. At that time, many labor laws were enacted, the work permit, the national system of commercial and industrial partnership, and the social security. In 1942, the Brazilian Assistance Legion was created, LBA, to assist the poor sectors in the poor system. The board of LBA was submitted to the first ladies, and the resources raised came either from the government or from private donors. 1964 to 1988, the military regime, the NGOs, the social movements, and the search for the redemocratization. The military republic distanced the state from the people, not enabling them to take part in the political scenario. The political cooperativism from the government was extinct. The state started to reprehend the organizations and social movements which were not under their control, turning such actions into illegal and undercovered. Only those of the government assistantalist entities could work along with the people, such as BNH, the COBAL, Mobral, and INPS local entities. The church was also undermined from this structure of power and started to perform without the interference of the government. At the time, the independent social movements increased under the wings of the church. Many organizations arose were overlooked by the government, like the Ecclesiastic Community of Base and the Theology of Freedom. In 1972, a meeting of ad hoc was held among the first NGO free from the influence of the state of the church. It was at that time that the political parties and the unions were created. 1982 to 2000, redemocratization, the creation of the third sector. With the redemocratization, the regain of the rights were set. The process of globalization had intensified and the people started to share information through the internet and social media. The environmental issue gained ground to the discussions about social issues. However, the social exclusion worsened. The civil organizations as the third sector turned legal. And because of that, many of these actions were put into practice in an effort to help global problems such as famine, pollution, among others. The culture of social environment and activism have grown. The social organizations have started the causes of the problems and not in its symptom. 2000 to 2016, sharing responsibilities, new models of business and social initiatives. The current scenario on social investment has gotten strong due to economic, social and cultural events which had taken place in Brazil and around the world. But despite the economic growth in the last decade, Brazil is still an ongoing country and faces socio-economic challenges. Another important aspect is the current picture is that the number of workers has gone up, both in quantity and per capita income. But this increase was not enough to guarantee their access to many of the private services, such as healthcare plan, dental care, private schools, among others. In 2010, there were 290,692 private funds and non-profitable institutions in Brazil, divided in the following categories: religion, patronage and professional associations, human rights defense, culture and entertainment, social security, education and research, health, environment, housing, and other institutions. As you see, since the discovery of Brazil, there had already been action plans towards fundraising. The 290,692 non-profitable private foundations are scattered in all regions of the country and in different numbers accordingly. The North accounts for 4.9%. The Central East accounts for 6.5%. The Northeast 22.9%. The South with 21.5%. And the most part of the Southeast with 4.2%. The current picture of the social investment has strengthened thanks to the economic, social, and cultural events held in Brazil and in the world. But despite the economic growth of the country in the last decade, Brazil is still an ongoing country and thus faces many social, economic challenges. Today in Brazil, 57 million people are still vulnerable and another 9 million people in extreme poverty. It's worth noting that the social vulnerability now counts for people or places that are exposed to social exclusion, being them a family or individuals on their own. Those who are included on social vulnerability are those who do not have voice, who are not supported, the homeless, and those who live at the stake of others. The World Bank calls extreme poverty those who live on a $1 basis PPP, and moderate poverty those who live on a $1 to $2 day basis. It is estimated that 1 million people in the world are on a lower acquisitive power under $1 a day, and that 700 million people are under a $2 basis. Another important aspect on the current context is that the middle working class has outnumbered in people and per capita income. This means that there are more people in the middle class with better revenues. Remember, you can consult more material and tips on our site www.captamos.org.br or in our site www.4steps.com.br.